you can see in this video, look down at the like at the bottom, you see me, that's my arrow going over it a couple of times to try and press like, and that's what comes up. So what a shock, more Facebook bullshit censorship. The content you requested cannot be displayed at the moment. It may be temporarily unavailable. The link you clicked on may have expired, or you may not have permission to view this page. I was liking someone's quote, as you can see. Facebook is now so controlled, and you know, for me, they just do everything they can to screw me over, because they obviously don't like the truth, what's really going on in the planet. Police recruited teenager to spy on her pimp, leading her to become accessory to murder, peer reveals. Officers arguably exploited 17-year-old who was on edge of care, Sally Hawu says. A teenage girl was recruited by the police to collect information about her pimp, leading her to become an accessory to murder, a member of the House of Lords has said. In a debate about the use of child spies, Sally Hamwi said officers arguably exploited the 17-year-old who the Barons described as on the edge of care after her parents separated and she was moved between London boroughs. So more, not just shit police behaviour, it should be classed as criminal. Exploiting children because you're a child till you're 18, and exploiting children to do this sort of thing, rather than taking her out of the pimp situation, they exploited her. This is the corrupt police, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Met. Bitter taste. Cadbury's grandson blasts chocolate firm after it pays none corporation tax despite making 185 million profit in the UK. Mondelez UK Limited, which sells favourites such as Flake, Boost and Crunchy bars, offset its profits to avoid a potential 35 million tax bill. Cadbury's grandson has blasted the chocolate firm after claims it paid zero corporation tax despite making 185 million profit in the UK last year. American owner Mondelez UK Limited, which sells favourites such as Flake, Boost and Crunchy bars, offset its profit. Blah, blah, blah. Right. Now, for all you lot out there, only the poor pay tax. The rich bastards don't pay tax, as you can see. Anger as Tory MSP suggests poor people shouldn't breed. No, I'll tell you what, rich bastards shouldn't breed. They should be sterilised at birth, because that's where the problems come from, especially the royals. The Tory spokesperson on Social Security has made the jaw-dropping claim that poor people should not have more than 2 children in the course of a Holyrood debate on poverty and inequality. The Scottish Government's Cabinet Secretary for Communities and Local Government, Eileen Campbell, MSP, interviewed on the Tory member to ask whether she was proud of the 2 children limit and proud of the rape clause. In response, Tory MSP Michelle Ballantyne said it is fair that people on benefit cannot have as many children as they like, while people who work and pay their way and don't claim benefits don't have to make decisions about the number of children they have. This is population control. This is the Tory scum saying, oh, you're poor, you shouldn't have kids. Well, the next thing will be, you need sterilising. No, the frigging Tories need sterilising, every bleeding one of them, because they're all satanic bastards. Now, this caught my eye on a Facebook post, actually, and I always wondered about it. If you've ever been on a plane, you'll notice that you're taught, in the event of an emergency, put your head between your knees and kiss your ass goodbye. but it turns out there's something slightly more sinister to it. Attention, plane travellers. Disturbing information has come to my attention from an ex-flight attendant. Below is word for word what the flight attendant told me. We are trained to tell people to put their heads down while holding their neck during a crash. During an insurance settlement hearing, my supervisor admitted to me off record the horrible and sinister truth about why we are taught this procedure. Placing head down and hands overhead will force their heads into the back of the seat in front, breaking the passenger's neck, killing them instantly. This way, the insurance payouts will not be as high due to those paralysed or permanently injured, and the airline can pay out a fast lump sum death settlement. You heard it correctly. The airlines would rather you die during a crash than live to tell the story and collect thousands forever. How sad is it when profits are more important than saving lives? The correct way to avoid death during a crash is brace yourself, sitting straight upward. I had to share this because it may just save your life or someone you love. So, it's all about insurance payouts. When you're on a plane, put your head down so your neck gets broke when you when you crash. Not that you might not survive anyway, but this is the insurance companies now. They need to be. Now, I've known about this for a while, and it came to my attention when I was told that a chip shop in Derby had scum criminal council reps go round and tell them if they're not using rapeseed, they will be fined. The side effects of rapeseed oil. Rapeseed oil is an oil obtained from the rapeseed Brassica napus lineus, belonging to the Brassica family. The plant is mainly cultivated in Europe and Asia, and the seeds are used for the production of oil and a high-protein animal feed. Traditional rapeseed oil is rich in uric acid that has been found to cause toxicity in humans when consumed in large doses. This toxicity is not immediately apparent and takes around 10 years to manifest. Effects of rapeseed oil on the heart. The original variety of rapeseed has a high content of uric acid, which can range between 20 to 55%. Uric acid is a long-chain monosaturated fatty acid. Animal experiments have shown that this compound can cause lesions on the heart, leading to significant heart damage. This oil is therefore considered unsafe for consumption by humans. Can you see now? The councils are in on the depopulation plan. Effects of rapeseed oil on metabolism. Metabolism of food takes place through various biochemical changes in the body. This process involves the action of many enzymes that act in coordination to digest and promote absorption of food. Rapeseed oil shows a tendency to reduce this effect of this process. Rapeseed oil and cancer. Raw rapeseed has high levels of omega-3 oils, which have a beneficial effect on the heart during the process of rapeseed oil. However, these oils get oxidized and give a rancid odor, which is removed by a deodorizing process. This process causes the formation of trans fats. These compounds are known to be carcinogenic. That is, they have cancer-causing potential. Again, the councils are trying to kill us as part of United Nations Agenda 21 and United Nations Agenda 30, which is our plans to depopulate the planet. And guess what? That means you. Secrets of a swingers club revealed with police. Lawyers and judges joining as members. The owners of the Townhouse Club in Birkenhead, Merseyside, received a grilling from local politicians on how how aspects like consent, safety, sexual health and security are managed. Owner Vicky told the committee that since she and husband Jim took over the venue in 2012, it has flourished more as a fetish and LGBT venue and now boasts around 20,000 members, of which of course lawyers, police and judges are all involved because they're all perverts. Speaking of perverts, let's get on with the star. Sir Shifty named as sex gag boss. That thing that bought British home stores for £1, then sold it all off and sacked all the staff and made millions from it, is also a pervert and probably a paedophile as well, I strongly suspect. While they're on about destroying the whole country, Debenhams shut shops. World War dumb. Snowflake bid to erase heroes. There are no heroes in any war. There are only criminals. And on the left there, Strictly again every day for over 2 weeks we've had this Strictly shit. If you're not sick of it, there's something wrong with you. Mirror. Carol Vorderman. One true love stuff is nonsense. The single life is great. So she's a slapper that likes to screw around with everyone. And of course this is going to be in every paper I would suspect. Scandal tycoon named. The fall and fall of Sir Philip Green. He's unmasked as in Parliament after being accused of sexual harassment. He's a sir, so he's almost definitely going to be a paedophile as well. The Times. Martin Amis on turning 70. I'm slower and jerkier. Stamp out deadly student initiations, coroner tells universities. Duke of York eager to work closely with Saudi Arabia. You mean that same Saudi Arabia that goes around beheading women when they get raped for getting raped? Oh, what a shock! One of the royals wants to get closer with them. That tells you all you need to know about the royals. They're a bunch of paedophiles. MPs call for Green to be stripped of knighthood. Tycoon named in sex case injunction scandal. So is he going to face any charges? Of course not. Because the rich don't face justice. Only the poor face injustice. And of course, he won't have paid any tax. But you've got to pay tax apparently. Oh, because it's easier. It's easier for the criminal HM revenue and collection bullshit to come after you than it is to go after a millionaire like that. Daily fail. As he's humbled over harassment claims, will wife who controls his billions run out of patience? It looks like a man, I've got to say. That definitely is a man's face. Named and shamed. Philip Green is unmasked in Lords over press gag. MPs say strip him of knighthood if claims are true, but he furiously denies sex and racism allegations. Well, that's a shock. He's denying it. You know, because the first thing you'd expect is him to just face up and admit it, because he's been named as the guy that's done it. But no, he's denying it. Well, when one of these pieces of shit is ever caught out, do they ever admit it? No, they always deny it. When Andrew got caught out for being a paedophile, did he admit it? No, he denied it, even though the evidence was there. And has he been charged with it? No, because he's a royal pedo, and royal pedos get away with it. The Guardian. Barbara Streisand having a go at Trump because she's one of the elite paedophiles, I would suspect. DNA testing Gurkhas and Afghans get full apology. Philip Green. I am not guilty of unlawful sexual racist behaviour, even though I took out injunctions to stop those that were trying to say that I am. Stop them. Women will now be considered for all front-line armed forces posts, including roles in the SAS. This is good and bad news. It's bad because you don't want women in them situations. And don't give me this shit about we're all equal. Women are more feminine, blokes usually are more feminine. Blokes are usually more masculine. But what this means is men have woken up and aren't joining the armed forces, which is great, because if everyone stopped joining the armed forces, there'd be no army, and guess what that would mean? No wars, no invasions, no murder of innocent men, women and children. The utter scum. The real our girls. Women join the army front line. Just don't join. Scandal of Topshop boss Green. Weinstein Pell exposed as gag tycoon. So, the paedophile Weinstein is friends with the paedophile Green. What a shock. I always suspected it. And there you have, as far as I'm concerned, all the evidence you need to prove that he's a filthy paedophile. Accused of sex pestering and bullying. Fresh calls to strip him of knighthood. Oh, who gives a shit about a knighthood? It just means that you're a part of the paedophile gang. Hash me too. Now, where I get these shots, the news headlines from, this pops up quite often recently. Sign to make TV debates happen. So just make it more like America. But at the end of the day, we don't want any of this scum, any of this bought and paid for traitors in any... Well, they can have all the debates they want. We don't want them in Parliament, though, because they are treasonous traitors to the whole of humanity. Aye. Quality, concise, the future of unindependent journalism. Julia Roberts. Why do we freak out at 50? Failing eyesight, 30 years in Hollywood and Manchester United. What? New rail card for 26 to 30 nationwide. A third off all train fares. Why would you need to give a third off if you weren't overcharging? Oh, because you are overcharging as usual. Because remember, privatising the rail network will make them fight against each other and lower prices. And since it's been privatised, just like the utilities, what's happened? Prices through the roof. Because we've got to make profits for our shareholders, haven't we? Unmasked. Topshop owner Sir Philip Green, paedophile Sir Philip Green, named as tycoon accused of sexual harassment. And this is just the stuff we're hearing about. I guarantee you there's more to come. Retail billionaire identified in Parliament over bullying and intimidation claims. Peter Hain uses House of Lords to reveal businessman behind gagging order. I feel it's my duty, given that the media have been subjected to an injunction preventing publication of a story which is clearly in the public interest. Green denies unlawful sexual and racist behaviour as calls to strip knighthood begin. You see, if you're rich, you can even shut the papers up. Not that you normally need to, because normally they won't publish anything on any of their paedophile friends. But this one has got through. So maybe he's upset them. Who knows? UK military opens every combat role to women. Don't frigging go. If there's no soldiers, there can be no wars. If there's no wars, the criminals that run this country will have no power. New letter bombs target Biden and De Niro. Fake, false flag, bullshit. DWP. in denial on problems with universal credit. See no evil. Mark Steele, our special relationship with Saudis, the most brutal regime on the planet after China, or maybe on par with China, and our special relationship, because we're run by a bunch of sadistic, paedophile, Luciferian, satanic scum that need wiping off the face of this planet. And we'll have a much better place to live then. Express. Do you think I'm lazy? Sir Rod says I've never cooked a meal in my life. And I wouldn't mind betting he's a paedophile as well. New Tory plan to save High Street. Another 4,000 jobs under threat at Debenhams. Named in shame, Sir Philip Green revealed as tycoon in 500,000 Me Too gagging scandal. But billionaire Topshop boss denies any unlawful sexual and or racist behaviour. Now they're all putting that in, you'll notice, because they all like to protect the paedophiles. All the papers, which after all are controlled by paedophiles, so, you know, she definitely looks like a bloke. Metro. View from the Ridge. Can Hammond's budget help save our high street? No, it costs us money every time there's a budget. Let's do away with Parliament, do away with budgets, do away with the Royals, and we wouldn't need any of this shit. Oh, and while we're on about shit, Green outed in the Lords. Tycoon covered up sex abuse claims. Down at the bottom in the blue line, furious students bid to paint over war heroes mural. De Niro target of US hate bomber. It was a false flag by the deep state to try and protect the paedophiles, the Clintons, the Obamas, who is married, or apparently so, to another bloke who pretends to be a woman. And if you, I know some of you think, come on, it's a woman, how's they got 2 kids? Well, quite simply, how did Madonna get kids? Oh yeah, they adopted them. Well, there's photos out there, and if you doubt me, you look for it, where, because he's now the first man lady of the United States, he doesn't have to have shaved 3 times a day. And there's photos out there with him with a virtual full growth of about 5 millimeters long. It's a bloke. Obama's gay. It's all out there if you look for it. And so therefore, of course, he was also not born in the United States, so he was an unlawful president and needs to go to prison. And his boyfriend as well. The tell-lie graph. Sir Philip Green named as Me Too scandal business. Lord Hayne uses parliamentary privilege to identify Topshop owner as the man whose injunction gagged the Telegraph. Yeah, he looks like a pedo. BT chairman rejects open reach sale. Families living in fear as arrest levels tumble. FA chief calls for tax on bets to fund grassroots. No friggin' way. The FA is a multi-million pound corporation, and they can piss off. Not that I bet anyway, but for those that do. Because I was reading that some, apparently one bloke, or one man, woman, whichever, in America won the $1.2 billion lottery, and they get taxed on it, you know. And you know how much tax they took, or will take? 500 million. In other words, $500 million in tax. So the guy, whoever won it, gets 700 million. Ridiculous. Tax for what? For nothing. Tax is theft. At the end of the day, it was brought into fund, I think it was World War I, and then of course after World War I, thought, well, actually we'll just leave that tax there, and that's why we still pay tax to this day. Even though there is no law that says a man or woman has to pay tax, and I've put videos out with me and my bold mate where we call the tax office up and ask them, what law states that you have to pay tax? And you know what they said? Oh, that's a new one. And you know what they came back with? Nothing. They couldn't identify a tax anywhere, a law anywhere that says any man or woman has to pay tax. You're all paying tax when there's no law that says you has to. And even if there had been, it wouldn't have been a law, it would have been a statute or an act, which are only given consent by those dumbasses on the voters register. And they always say, oh, you don't, it doesn't matter if you vote or not, but you've got to be on the voters register or you get £1,000 fine. And again, there's video on my channel where they come to the door and say this shit. And I go, oh, who are you going to fine? Even though the councils know who lives there. And they go, well, you. And I go, who am I? And she goes, I'm not playing these games, and storms away. Because they get a bonus if they con anyone that's dumb enough to go on the voters register. I don't consent to any of this shit the paedophiles in Parliament, the paedophile royals are doing. Trump attacks media over mail bomb scare. In other words, he knows it's a false flag. Anything but independent. Why I'm one of the measured middle. Are missile treaties pointless anyway? She, Miri Dejevsky, she looks like the woman that used to be on the test card that BBC used to put out when there was no TV. Because strangely enough, you know, we didn't have TV 24 hours a day. At one point, there was no TV until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it shut off about midnight, and there was no TV after that. Now, of course, they bombard you with this shit 24/7. And millions of channels to choose from. We don't care what you watch, but watch something because it sends these signals that put you to sleep. That's why if you've got kids and it's, say, tea time, you go, Bill, Pete, Julie, whatever name your kids are. You have to call them 2 or 3 times because they're in a trance, because TV puts you in a trance. And that's how they've been controlling the population forever. Finally, women can be on the front line. Well, if you think Lizzie Dearden, that's a good deal, get there and join up. But of course, no, she's one of these bitches that will say, yeah, it's great. You're going to join up then? Not a chance. I ain't putting my life on the line. Two-faced bitch. Behind the scenes at Davos in the desert. Unmasked, Philip Green named as the businessman facing Me Too accusations. Big smirk on his face. The Topshop owner, 66. You couldn't make this shit up, could you? You really couldn't. Took legal action to bar newspapers from naming him as the pervert paedophile. I may have used some poetic license there. No deal Brexit would cost the young £100,000 each. Generation that opposed leaving the EU to bear the brunt. Oh, well, what's that sound like then? Oh yeah, that's fear tactics, isn't it? And what it is also is, let's go for the young, because they're too stupid to know what's going on anyway. We'll say that it's going to cost them £100,000, because that'll put fear in. Oh no, we don't. Another paper that is anything but independent, putting fear into the young, thinking, let's vote Remain, because every single paper wants to remain, because the heads of every single paper is a Remona. Financial Times. US small business warms to Trump's policies. Timely warning from the former Fed chief. You've got to look into the Fed and you'll realise that they're nothing but a bunch of criminals. Australia confronts a surplus of its national animal. Green named as businessman at centre of abuse allegations. Court had blocked identity. Why? Why can they do that? Just because they've got money, they can go to the court and they can block everyone from talking about it. Injunctions should be banned, apart from if someone's threatening you with that, and in which case, tell them 5 years in prison if you go near that man or woman or whatever again. And if they do, lock them up. I guarantee you they'll stop. Court had blocked identity. See, the courts are criminals. And if you're rich, you can get whatever you want. Cheap chick boss issues denial. What a shock. Calls to scrap knighthood. WPP shares slide as new chief calls for radical thinking on structural issues. Chinese nuclear group has military motives, warns US.
Dennis Healy. World events do not occur by accident. They are made to happen, whether it is to do with national issues or commerce, and most of them are staged and managed by those who hold the purse strings.